Hello everyone. Today topic we will cover VNet, and we will also go through NSG, which is Network Security Group. So it's like a firewall type of scenario we're gonna do. Okay, let's start our lab. So first of all, we're gonna start by we're gonna start by doing creating resource group as always. So let's create our resource group. Sorry, just creating it. Okay, we're gonna call this one as resource group East US. Just gonna check all the uppercase, and let's wait for our resource group to get created. That's created, as you can see. Now the next step we're gonna do is to create our virtual network. So let's create our virtual network. Okay, the first one we're gonna call it public VNet. We're gonna keep one VNet. Let's do one VNet. My VNet subnet. We're gonna create two subnets. Then let's do this way. Okay, let's go previous. What should I have done? I should have took our own IP addresses. So let's delete this one. And 10 dot for 0.0.16. Okay, let's use the same. Okay, and then in subnet, let's create one subnet which we will call public subnet. And let's define the subnet range 10.0.1.0/24. So we have 123 address. We don't need that one, it's just okay. So this is our public subnet. And let's add another subnet, which we're gonna call it private. So these will help us to understand and demo uh, our network security groups. And this one, let's call this .0.2.0.20/4. Should use 24 up there, but I use 25. It should be fine, it's not a problem. So okay, let's try something different all the time. So let's see if we can able to. Oh yeah, we can able to even change it. Let's put it 24. Yeah, that's a good test. And let's change it to 24. Okay, that's done. And let's create it. Rest, we don't have to change anything. There's a network security group. You can do it from here, I'm pretty sure, but let's create it separately. So our network virtual network has been created with the subnets, public and private. It's in process. Let's wait a few more minutes. Okay, here we go. That's all done. So if you go to subnet under your virtual network, you can see that too. Okay, now the next step we need to do is to create our network security group, which is also called NSG. Okay, we're going to create two network security groups here. One, we're going to call it public network security group, and in same region. Okay, next. Okay, so this is created and it took the default values. We will add something to these values later on. So let's go to our sorry. second network security group, but it can take some time. Let's create a second one, and this one you're gonna call it private network security group, and in the same region. And let's hit enter and create. Okay, give it some time. Okay, that's done. Perfecto. So now let's go to can be surprised where is our other one gone? Public MSA. Oh yeah, we create public first. Okay. Yeah, it will take some time. Let's check there. This is our public. This is our private. Okay, so perfect. That's done. Yeah, it's showing up now. Now let's go back to our network, virtual network. And under the virtual network, click on this network. So now we got NS and N network security group created. So they are not any use to us until unless they are not assigned to something. So let's go to our public subnet. And next topic we need to do, we need to assign it. Okay, now how to assign it? Let's quickly change. No, you can't do it from here. We need to go back to our network security groups, private. Let's pick private. And under the private, under the network security groups, you can see there's an option here called subnet. And then here, if you click on associate, it will give option which virtual network you want and which subnet. Since this is private, we will use private subnet. Just a naming convention we followed, so we know which one is connected to which one. So that's connected. Now go to public. Same procedures, virtual network, and then public. Perfect. So what we have done here, we created a resource group, we created a virtual network. Under the virtual network, we created two subnets, and then we created two network security group. We associate our both subnet to those network security group. Now let's launch our VM and connect that VM. We're going to use Windows and then Linux next. So let's start with the Linux, Windows one first, and then connect to our subnet. Okay, you probably know how to create the virtual machine. I will just quickly go and do this one. If you don't, we have a lot of videos earlier how to create those ones. Please follow those. Okay, the settings should be same. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we will not select any inbound port from here. That's what our whole topic is about, and I will show you how we can do them manually or in a different way. So click this. Okay, this okay. Review. Okay, we missed one thing, and it's good that we didn't hit create. So once the value, let's go to network. Okay, this is where I need to show you. We need to select public. We are doing public on Windows. This we're gonna same as it, keep it as it is. Since this public subnet is associated with the network, public network security group which we created. So we're gonna keep these things as it is. Disable this. We don't need it. Let's create. Just remember that serve public Subnet is connected to the public network security group. Just remember this point because we are going to show you something interesting. So what we have done, we have created a Microsoft Windows Server 2019 virtual machine. Okay, we will give it some time. Okay, perfect. So that's created our VM. Now let's try to RDP into it. If you remember from the previous lectures or demos, the videos we can able to. That's interesting. It's not letting us connect it. Okay, what's the reason? So now, since you remember, I just want to hit cancel because it will throw an error. If you remember the network security group which we have created, the public one, and it's connected to our public subnet. If you look at the inbound security rules, it doesn't allow RDP anywhere. The only allow, if you look at, is just a virtual network to virtual network, but there is nothing related to RDP, and this is load balancer, which we are going to cover at some point later. And rest of the traffic is denied or blocked. So let's create an inbound rule. You can click on inbound rule, add source. You can do, okay, I will do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to add only one IP address, which is gonna be my machine IP address, public one, and let's try to get the IP address for my machine. My IP, my IP address. Okay, and let's see if it can able to. It's checking. It's checking. Agree. Yep, this is my IP address. I'm gonna copy this and enter into. So you got the option here: source, any test, service tag, and application. But I will use IP address now here. Click, and I'm gonna say 32. So this is my IP address. Okay, source range. I'm gonna keep source port. I'm gonna allow everyone everything. You can put RDP as well, and then destination port. I'm gonna keep as it is. You can add destination port to UDP. RDP, sorry, as well, and then allow priority 100, and I will call it RDP rule underscore rule. So you can see you can do RDP from here. Once you click RDP, it will select rest of the settings for you. Perfect. Destination any, and yes, add this rule. You can see it's getting created on the top. Okay, priority, make sure you use a less number as compared to these ones because these are built-in rules and you're telling a new rule. So that's done. And now if I go back to my RDP console, IP address will be the same. If I hit OK here we go. Just by adding that one, let me in. Okay, we'll wait for this one to launch fully and let's create a Linux virtual machine in the same subnet and give it a private IP address. Okay, the virtual machine will be, let's call it Linux and Ubuntu 18, I like the operating system. And we'll always use this one, and then we will keep SS. We keep public. password for this one. I was thinking to keep SSH publicly, but I will get wrong to get it done. Okay. I'm gonna allow SSH. Okay, you can create a rule for this one as I showed you, but since we have already created one, I'm just gonna keep it simple, and I'm gonna give it HTTP as well, all of them. As I show you, if you want to change it or customize it, you can do it from there. Okay, in here we'll keep as it is. Okay, now in here we're gonna use private. That's perfect. It pick up private automatically. Okay, public IP address, we're gonna say no. We don't want this machine to be on public network. It's just gonna be in private network. That's what we call it, private. And we will show you how we can access this. Okay, so that's all done. And now let's go to management, disable this, and let's create our. Okay, perfect. So while it's getting created, let's go to here and let's quickly install our Azure server here. Okay, so that's getting installed. Just gonna disable this as well because we're gonna install something. Okay, I'm gonna download putty while it's getting installed here. I'm gonna use that putty to connect to our virtual machine since these two are in the same network. Okay, there's nothing called PD. So, sorry, my typo. Putty download for Windows. Okay, try to install it from the official website. It's a very small software, should be ready. Okay, here we go. We got put installed. Okay, let's put this one. Okay, our web server is still getting installed, and our VM is ready. So as you can see, we don't have any public IP address. We didn't choose it. The only address we got is private IP address. So how we can access this one? So that's why we have installed put in there. Okay, our web server is completed. Let's test web server first. Okay, now you're gonna see if I try to access. Let's go to this is our Linux machine. Let's go back to our Windows machine, and this is our private address, a public address. And if I click, you can't able to see our web server launching. So because we did not allow it, if I click OK, you can actually do it from local. Now it will not pick up if I do 127.0.0. 127.0.0.1, which is, yep, server is running, but it's not reachable. We need to make, yeah, here we go. We need to make the change to our network security group. If we have time, we will try that one, but let's focus to what we were doing. So our virtual machine, Linux, let's go back to our Linux virtual machine. So our IP address is 10.0.2.4. So let's go into our, since you know that these two machines are in the same subnet, so we should be able to access using our putty software here. So if I do 0.2.4. Click OK and accept the connection, and I will call it. This is what we call it, right? Yep. And then the password. Okay, we are in. Now let's install Apache server here just to test. So I just have to get my instruction there. So Python get update and apt dot get install Apache to whatever. Oops. Okay, that's getting install Apache server, and we're gonna prove it that you can only use the Apache with the network. So these two machines are in network. Okay, while it's getting installed, let's test this, and then we will see if we have a time we can able to test the other bits as well. If you remember, our IP address for this Apache was Linux server where we have installed Apache was 10.20.2.4. Here we go. So this machine is on a different or is on a private network, and we can able to access it. Okay. If we want, we can. Let's go to our network security group for private, which is used by Linux at the moment, and you can see now. You can block it if you want. It's up to you, whatever rules you want to put in. So if I do, let's try to block everything. Source, any, it's just set enough. So ideally, it should block nearly everything. Yes, we can't able to RDP into it as well. So just remember this. We have to delete this one rule created perfecto. And if I click refresh, why it's coming? That's very interesting, right? So what we need to do when we create the inbound rule to block something, we have to create the outbound rule as well. So let's do the outbound rule. Deny any. Okay, we need to change this one. Let's keep it 8080 for now. 8080 and see. Make sure it's the rule with this name already exists. Call one and just one on it. But it was on the other out inbound. Okay, that's done. Let's do refresh and let's see. Okay, so it's still going on. We can still see it. Sometimes it can take time, but there's another thing I think I just missed it. We can put static here. Oh, sorry. Save button is on the top. I was looking on the bottom. Okay, something new to know. We also updated the security group, network security group rules as well. Okay. And click here. And let's do the same for this. I'm telling it to block everything. Okay. Now let's try. Okay, I have gone through this issue before. Let's copy this IP address. I will show you why, because it's picking up from the cache. Let's clear our cache up. Go to Internet Explorer, delete, yep, delete everything, apply. Okay, we need to close the browser, open it again, Control V. Need to give some time here. Okay, if you leave it for some time, it will implement it and it will block it. But we need to finish this video now. It's going a bit longer. Okay, I will suggest you to try it, and I will see you in the next video. Let's put this video. I will say thanks for watching. Bye for now.